Welcome back to Sewpronto. Today we're making the Raft's bag a functional and stylish tote with a simple base shape that's perfect for customization and everyday use. It's a quick and satisfying project, great for beginners, and also perfect as a thoughtful handmade gift. As always, we're using one of Sewpronto's original patterns. Visit sewpronto.com to discover more. Here are all the materials you'll need to make the Raft bag. I'm using a vintage-inspired floral cotton with a soft cream background. Following the suggested layout, I place all the pattern pieces on the wrong side of the fabric. Make sure to align any pieces marked place on fold along the folded edge of the fabric. Then, I check that the grain lines are parallel to the fabric selvage. Pin the pattern in place, cut along the outer edges, and don't forget to mark all notches around the pattern pieces for easier assembly later. Here, I'm cutting lightweight fusible interfacing for all the pieces that need extra support. That includes the bag-facing straps and the top pocket panel. I simply use the same pattern pieces as before, place them on the rough side of the interfacing, and cut around the edges, and then pressing all of them using an iron. I fuse the interfacing onto the wrong side of each fabric piece. That includes the bag-facing, straps, and zip pocket top panel. First, I pin the two main bag panels together, right sides facing. Starting from the opening down to the base, I stitch both side seams. After stitching, I press the seams open and trim the loose threads. Optional, you can also top stitch 6 mm 1/4 from the seam to give a cleaner finish. Next, I pin and sew the curved base edges, right sides together. Once sewn, I clip into the curves where the base meets the body to help the seam relax, and then press the seams open dot. You can also top stitch along the base for a crisp finish if you like. Now the main body of the bag is complete. It's really starting to take shape. Next, we're going to assemble the facing for the bag opening. Take your two facing pieces and place them right sides together like this. Then, pin them along both side edges to keep them in place. Now head over to your machine and sew along both side seams with a straight stitch. This will form a continuous facing loop. You have a clean, structured facing loop ready to give the bag opening a polished edge. In this step, we'll sew the bag straps. First, fold each strap piece in half lengthwise, right sides facing each other, and pin along the long edge. Next, sew a straight line down that edge using your sewing machine. Once you've finished sewing, turn each strap right side out. As you're turning it, adjust the seam so it sits right in the center of the underside. That'll make it easier to press. Finally, press both straps flat with an iron, keeping the seam centered on the back side, and trim off any loose threads if needed. The straps are now finished. Next, we'll start on the internal zippered pocket. First, I finish the raw edges of the top pocket panel and the zipper opening edge of the flat pocket using an overlocker or a zigzag stitch. Next, I pin the zipper, right sides together, between the top pocket panel and the flat pocket, aligning the zip ends with the notches. Using a zipper foot, I sew along both edges, keeping a 1 cm seam allowance. And then edge stitch along both seams to keep the fabric flat and the zipper smooth. To continue with the flat pocket, fold the bottom of the pocket up along the marked fold line so the bottom edge meets the zipper opening. The right sides should still be facing each other. Using a zipper foot, sew both side seams of the pocket, sewing as close to the zipper ends as possible. Next, finish the raw edges on both sides of the pocket with an overlocker or a zigzag stitch to keep the seams neat and prevent fraying. That's it! In the next step, we'll sew the pocket onto the inside of the bag. In this step, we're attaching the facing to the top edge of the main bag. Start by aligning the side seams of the bag body and the facing. Then pin the entire facing around the bag opening, right sides together. Next, sew one continuous straight stitch around the top edge following the curve. One note for you, Leave 2 small openings unsewn where the straps will be inserted later. Do not sew the entire loop closed. After sewing, use scissors to clip into the curved seam allowance every 1.5 centimeters. This helps the curve sit flat and prevents puckering. Be careful not to cut into the stitching. Now we're attaching the shoulder straps to the bag. Insert each strap end into the openings left in the facing from the previous step. Feed the strap from the inside between the bag body and the facing with right sides together. Position the seam side of the strap so it faces the facing layer. Pin the straps in place, making sure they're straight and not twisted. Next, sew a straight line across each strap opening to secure the straps in place, 1 seam for each of the 4 strap ends. Make sure they're evenly placed between the front and back of the bag. Once all straps are attached, turn the facing right side out and pull the straps out as well. The straps should now sit flat and securely in place. The straps are now securely attached, and the bag is really coming together. Let's continue by assembling the internal lining next. Now we're attaching the zippered flat pocket to the inside of the bag opening. First, place the raw edge of the pocket along the center front or back notches on the lower edge of the facing, right sides together. Pin it in place securely. Next, sew a straight line along the raw edge of the flat pocket to attach it to the facing. Now the top edge of the pocket is neatly tucked under the facing, and the bag opening is clean and ready for final assembly. Now we're assembling the bag lining. Start by placing the 2 lining pieces right sides together. Align them from the top edge down to the base and pin them in place. Next, sew both side seams using a straight stitch. Press the seams open and trim any loose threads. Then, pin the base of the lining to the bottom edge, right sides together, and sew all the way around. At the corners where the base meets the sides, clip into the seam allowance slightly to help the lining turn more smoothly. Remember to press all seams open for a neat finish. The lining is now complete. In the next step, we'll attach the lining to the main bag, almost done. We've made it to the final step, attaching the lining to the main bag. Place the top edge of the lining right sides together with the bottom edge of the facing. Make sure the side seams are aligned and that the flat pocket and the shoulder straps are tucked neatly inside. Sew all the way around the bag opening with a straight stitch, but don't forget to leave a small gap, about 15 centimeters, so you can turn the bag right side out. Now turn the entire bag through the gap. Use your hands to gently shape the corners and smooth the seams. Then give the seam between the lining and the facing a good press. Then give the seam between the lining and the facing a good press. And that's it. Your rafts bag is complete, fully lined with a zippered flat pocket and strong, structured straps, ready to use or gift to someone special. If you enjoyed making this project, why not try it again in a different fabric, or explore more original patterns from our collection at Sewpronto.com. If you found this helpful, give the video a like, leave a comment if you have questions, and subscribe for more sewing tutorials coming your way.